Good morning and welcome to today's vote from the New York City Council Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. At this point, I'd like to remind everyone to please silence their electronic devices, and at no point is anyone to approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning and welcome to a meeting of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. I'm Councilmember Farah Lewis, Chair of the Subcommittee. This morning we are joined by Councilmembers Farias, Shulman, Salam, Felder, Encarnacion, Thomas Henry, and Minority Leader Carr. Today we are scheduled to vote on 7 proposals. The first vote concerns LUs 98 and 99 related to the 198-208 Richmond Terrace rezoning proposal in Councilmember Hanks's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use residential project in St. George on the North Shore of Staten Island that would have approximately 118 apartments, and up to 35 of the apartments would be permanently affordable. This proposal involves 2 actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R6 district and C2-2 commercial overlay to a residential R7-3 with -3 district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. A second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. Councilmember Hanks supports this proposal. Oh, she's here. Councilmember Hanks.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning again. The North Shore is changing, and with that comes responsibility to make sure people who have invested their lives here are not left behind. Because this is not simply about approving another building, it is about creating the kinds of housing opportunities that allow working families, young professionals, and longtime Staten Islanders continue to build their futures here. This proposal will bring 118 new apartments to St. George, including permanently affordable workforce housing, along with community facility space that will serve the surrounding neighborhood. Located near the ferry, public transportation, jobs, and local businesses, this is the type of location where new housing makes sense. Throughout this process, my office has worked to ensure the project was strengthened with the final proposal that includes enhanced stormwater management, a rooftop green space, and a better response to the site's conditions and surrounding community. We often talk about keeping Staten Islanders here, but that conversation has to include where they are going to live. If we want our teachers, healthcare professionals, first responders, and young professionals to remain on Staten Island, we have to create housing they can actually afford. With this said, no single project will solve all of our housing challenges, but this project moves us in the right direction by creating new rental opportunities, expanding workforce availability and affordability, and investing in continued growth of the North Shore. I look forward to my colleagues supporting this project, and thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. We've also been joined by Councilmember Nurse. The second vote concerns LUs 94 and 95 related to the 164th Street rezoning proposal in Councilmember Gennaro's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use residential project in Hillcrest, Queens. That would have approximately 80 apartments, and up to 24 of the apartments would be permanently affordable. The proposal involves 2 actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R3-2 district to a residential R6A district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. Councilmember Gennaro supports this proposal. The third vote concerns LUs 96 and 97 related to the 50-20 108th Street rezoning proposal in Councilmember Thomas Henry's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a 2 mixed-use residential project in South Corona, Queens. That together would have approximately 196 apartments, of which 49 would be permanently affordable under MIH Option 1. The sites are located across the street from each other along 50th Avenue. The proposal involves 2 actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R6B district with a C2-3 commercial overlay to a residential R7A district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. We are recommending two modifications. The first is to reduce the residential rezoning area that the applicant is requesting to address concerns of residential displacement. Removing existing residential buildings from the proposed upzoning will decrease development pressure in the area of the city that faces a high displacement pressure based on the city's Equitable Development Data Explorer. The second modification is to remove MIH option 2, which will ensure that the affordable housing to be provided is actually affordable. Councilmember Thomas Henry supports this proposal as modified. We've been joined by Councilmember Jay Sanchez. I now recognize Councilmember Thomas Henry for a statement.
Thank you, Chair. I want to first thank the entire land use staff for your diligence in bringing this to the finish line. I want to thank the community members, neighbors, Community Board 4 members who spoke up about what they wanted to see in this neighborhood and helped guide these modifications. I want to thank the applicant who has long-standing roots in the community, which made this first ULURP in my district in quite some time, and my first ULURP, quite a process of real development with community in mind. So I'm happy that we reached an agreement where we will have more affordable units that actually are units that members of the current community can actually afford, that those units will reflect what is in the community, which is more families instead of smaller units, working with our neighborhood partners to make sure that families within District 21 are able to gain access to these new units. MWBE inclusion on building this new development, working with 32BJ for more local union opportunities for local residents, and continuing to steward the local park that has been a part of the community for so long. So very excited where we're landing on this and looking forward to voting.
Thank you, Councilmember. The fourth vote concerns LUs 108 and 109 related to the 1166 Bedford Avenue rezoning proposal in Councilmember Osei's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use affordable senior housing project in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. That would have approximately 144 apartments, of which 43 would be permanently affordable. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R6A district to a C2-4 with a C2-4 overlay district to a residential R7X district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. Councilmember Osei supports this proposal. The fifth vote concerns LUs 100 through 103 related to the 2950 West 24th Street rezoning proposal in Councilmember Santos Soso's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use affordable housing project in Coney Island, Brooklyn. That would have approximately 408 apartments, of which 122 would be permanently affordable. The proposed development would be an infill project on a large site that presently has one building and an underused surface parking lot. The proposal involves four actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R6 district to a residential R7-3 district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. The other actions are for two special permits that would provide bulk waivers, flexibility in the distribution of the bulk, and reduce the minimum required distance between buildings. The second special permit is to reduce the required parking. Councilmember Santos Soso supports this proposal. Is she online? The sixth vote concerns LUs 104 and 105 related to the 63-02 Fresh Pond Road rezoning proposal in Councilmember Wong's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use residential project in Ridgewood, Queens. That together would have approximately 54 apartments, of which 14 would be permanently affordable under MIH option 1. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R5B district with a C1-4 commercial overlay to a residential R6A district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing. We are recommending one modification to remove MIH option 2, which will ensure the affordable apartments are provided at an average of 60% AMI. Councilmember Wong supports this proposal as modified. The sixth and final vote concerns LUs 106 and 107 related to the 1160 Pugsley Avenue rezoning proposal in Councilmember Farias's district. The applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use affordable housing project in the Unionport neighborhood of the Bronx. That would have approximately 104 apartments, of which 37 would be permanently affordable. The proposal involves two actions. The first is zoning map amendment to change the existing residential R5 district to a residential R7A district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. Councilmember Farias supports this project. I now recognize her for her statement.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Lewis and members of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. I'm excited to speak today in support of the 1160 Pugsley Avenue rezoning, a project I'm proud to advance and vote yes on because it delivers 104 affordable homes, including family-sized apartments, neighborhoods serving retail, outdoor recreation space, 32 parking spaces, and a fresh green market that strengthens food access for our communities. With rents outpacing what working families can afford and the Bronx continuing to carry some of the city's heaviest rent burdens and tens of thousands of New Yorkers still sleeping in shelters each night, we have to be critical about how we get to the solution. We need to build more housing, make sure that housing is connected to affordability, support family stability, and meet the everyday needs of New Yorkers. A lot of thought, intention, and discourse went into getting us to this point. I have had ongoing conversations with this developer about what this project needs to deliver, because anyone who knows me knows that if a proposal is not taking a multifaceted approach to solving some of the greatest overarching problems in my district, I will always have some feedback. And in this case, the developer took all of those recommendations seriously. Affordability has to be measured by the full reality families are carrying every day: rent, groceries, transportation, access to healthier options, and the ability to remain in the neighborhoods where new development helps meet real community needs. The housing model for this project includes much needed flexibility within HPD's term sheets with MIH options 1 or 2, which are competitive ranges for residents, and our area, which helps contribute to a stronger rent affordability ecosystem for the residents we're trying to reach. When housing is paired with family-sized units, neighborhood retail, and access to fresh food, we are creating a project that supports more than one part of a family's budget and daily life. As I've said before, District 18 has every reason to be excited, as I am, about the proposed fresh green market included in this project, with roughly 10,900 square feet reserved for grocery use. This is a serious investment in food access for a district where food deserts remain a serious issue. For too long, the options for food and groceries in our community have been too limited, not always the healthiest and not always the most affordable. Families should not have to travel outside of their neighborhood to find fresh food. Seniors should not have to struggle to access basic groceries close to home or even take multiple forms of transportation to access that. Working people should not be left with fewer options and higher prices because their community has been underserved. With the passage of this project, we're building new housing and continuing to transform the food landscape of our community for the better. A fresh green market at this site means families will have more choice, better access, and a stronger neighborhood grocery option close to home. It helps move us away from a food landscape where residents are forced to rely on whatever limited options are nearby, and towards one where healthier food access and competitive pricing are a part of the same affordability conversation. That is how we take on the affordability crisis seriously. Rent, groceries, transportation, and neighborhood services are all part of the same household budget. We have to move projects that can help address more than one pressure at a time. We fight for housing, we fight for food access, we fight for local retail, we fight for developments that add value to the lives of the people already here. That's why I'm proud to vote yes on this application and urge my colleagues to do the same. Today, we're moving forward with a project that brings affordable homes, family-sized apartments, healthier food options, and neighborhood-serving retail together under one roof. This is the action we should be taking when New Yorkers are asking us to make the city more affordable, more livable, and more responsive to the needs of working families. Thank you, Chair Lewis, again, my colleagues of the subcommittee, council land use staff, and the willing development team to join us in tackling New York's housing crisis together.
Thank you, Councilmember. Council, are there any council members with questions or remarks at this time? Councilmember
Yes.
Felder.
As usual, I'm not sure I know what I'm talking about, but the Bedford Avenue rezoning, was that a house of prayer that was going to do senior housing? So I just wanted to mention briefly that Councilmember OC is very much in favor of this, and that I don't remember having the opportunity to help House of Prayer often. And this project has so many good parts to it. It's a Muslim house of prayer. It has a senior citizen component to it. It has a children's kindergarten or play area in the same space, which would allow the children and the seniors, hopefully, to spend some time together. It's just a wonderful project, and I am just delighted that it's coming before us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I now call for a vote to approve with modification LUs 96 and 97 related to the 50-20 108 street rezoning, and LUs 104 and 105 related to the 63-02 Fresh Pond Road rezoning proposal, to approve LUs 94 and 95 related to the 164th Street rezoning proposal, LUs 98 and 99 related to the 198-208 Richmond Terrace rezoning proposal, LUs 100 and 103 related to the 2950 West 24th Street rezoning proposal, LUs 106 and 107 related to the Pugsley Avenue rezoning proposal, and LUs 108 and 109 related to the 1166 Bedford Avenue rezoning proposal. Council, please call the roll.
Chair Lewis.
Aye on all.
Councilmember Farias.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Schulman.
Aye and all.
Councilmember Salam.
I vote aye on all.
Councilmember Felder.
Aye on all.
Councilmember Encarnacion.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Sanchez.
I vote aye on all, and congratulations to my colleague Amanda Farias on a great project.
Councilmember Thomas Henry.
Aye.
Minority Leader Carr.
Aye on all.
By a vote of 9 in the affirmative, 0 opposing, and 0 abstentions, the items are approved as described by the chair, and these items are now referred to the full Land Use Committee.
That concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, subcommittee council, land use, and other council staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for participating in today's meeting. This meeting is hereby adjourned.